Have you ever scrolled through social media for hours, only to feel emptier than when you started? Carl Jung predicted this exact phenomenon decades ago. He warned that without a connection to our deeper selves, we'd fill the void with endless distractions, leading to what he called a spiritual crisis. But what if the solution isn't more productivity hacks or self-help tips, but something far more profound? In this video, we'll explore how Jung's ideas about the unconscious can help us reclaim meaning in an age of superficiality.
Have you ever noticed how technology promises to bring us closer together, yet somehow we end up feeling more distant? It's strange, isn't it? Social media, messaging apps, and constant notifications were supposed to make life easier, more connected, but they often leave us scrolling late at night, restless and unsure why we feel so disconnected. Carl Jung saw this coming long before the internet even existed. He called it a spiritual crisis, a condition where people lose their sense of purpose and drown in distractions instead of addressing what's missing. Jung believed this crisis stemmed from a growing neglect of our inner world, the part of us that craves meaning, not just entertainment or validation. He pointed out that when we lose touch with ourselves on this deeper level, we try to fill the gap with external things. Today, that could mean chasing likes on Instagram or binge-watching endless shows. These aren't inherently bad, but they become substitutes for something more fulfilling when we turn to them instead of looking inward. And ironically, while these tools are designed to connect us, they often amplify feelings of loneliness. Think about how much time we spend plugged into this endless flow of information. Studies have found that heavy smartphone use often goes hand in hand with increased anxiety and depression. While these findings might seem predictable, they highlight a crucial point. The more we rely on constant connectivity for a sense of fulfillment, the less satisfied we tend to feel. It's as if we're searching for something, but in all the wrong places. This aligns perfectly with what Jung warned about, a world starving for deeper connection beneath all the surface-level distractions.
In his view, the problem isn't just technology or materialism itself. Those are symptoms of a deeper disconnection, a lack of introspection. Jung believed that without examining our unconscious minds, we'd remain locked in a cycle of chasing what he called hollow validation. This might explain why so many of us feel stuck, burnout at work, exhaustion with endless tasks, or even that crushing sense of emptiness after an exciting purchase loses its shine. It's not that we're doing something wrong, it's that modern life often keeps us from attending to what's truly important, the inner self.
Jung saw this emptiness as more than just a personal struggle. He viewed it as a societal issue. When individuals lose touch with their inner worlds, society as a whole grows restless. Could this explain why modern burnout and existential fatigue feels so universal? Maybe it's not just about overwork or overstimulation. Perhaps, as Jung argued, it's a symptom of drifting too far from the unconscious mind, the source of genuine meaning. What if the parts of yourself you try hardest to ignore are the very ones you need to face? Carl Jung called this the shadow, those repressed, hidden aspects of our psyche that we consider unacceptable. These aren't just traits we dislike. They're the parts of ourselves we've buried so deeply that we barely realize they're there. Maybe it's anger, envy, or selfishness, emotions we were taught early on weren't okay to feel. Over time, we push them away, lock them out of sight, and convince ourselves they're not part of who we are. But here's the twist. What's out of sight doesn't disappear. It lingers in the unconscious, shaping our actions in ways we don't even notice. Avoiding the shadow often leads to something Jung described as projection. This is when we take the qualities we refuse to see in ourselves and unconsciously assign them to others. Think about something like road rage. Someone cuts you off, and suddenly you're yelling in traffic, accusing them of being reckless or inconsiderate. But isn't it possible that impatience or frustration already existed within you, and the other driver just gave it a place to land? Or consider the negativity that thrives online. Angry comment sections, trolling, relentless criticism. These behaviors often reflect deeper, unresolved feelings as people project their own insecurities or anger onto strangers instead of addressing what's really going on inside. Psychologists have found that self-awareness can make a big difference here. Studies show that people who actively work on recognizing their own suppressed emotions and behaviors tend to respond less defensively in stressful situations. When self-awareness grows, so does the ability to notice the shadow at work, to pause, reflect, and ask, is this reaction coming from me rather than them? It's not easy, but confronting the shadow is essential for emotional growth. Jung stressed that the shadow isn't just negative, it also holds creative and transformative potential. By embracing these hidden parts of ourselves, we can reclaim the creativity, strength, or honesty that may have been suppressed alongside the more uncomfortable traits. Without this confrontation, these parts of the psyche can sabotage us, causing recurring patterns of anger, fear, or self-doubt. With it, those very same elements become tools for becoming more authentic and complete. Facing the shadow requires courage. It means meeting the parts of yourself you'd rather avoid and learning to accept, not fight them. When you do, something powerful happens. That inner conflict starts to ease, and the energy spent on denial gets freed up for something greater, wholeness. Have you ever noticed how some stories feel universal? Whether it's ancient myths about gods and heroes, or even something as modern as a viral meme, certain themes seem to repeat themselves across time and cultures. Carl Jung explained this through the concept of the collective unconscious. It might sound abstract, but Jung believed it was a shared layer of the human psyche, one that houses archetypes, universal patterns of thought and behavior that we all inherit. In other words, we're all tapping into the same deep psychological framework, no matter where or when we live. Archetypes influence how we view the world, shaping the characters and narratives that resonate with us. Jung described several core archetypes: the persona, the mask we wear in social situations; the shadow, which we discussed earlier as the hidden side of ourselves; the anima or animus, which reflects the unconscious feminine or masculine aspects within us; and the self, the ultimate expression of wholeness. These archetypes are more than theoretical. They show up in our lives all the time, from the heroes we cheer for in movies to the recurring roles we play in our own relationships. Even something as simple as a beloved underdog character echoes the universal hero archetype we see in myths like Hercules or King Arthur. The world changes, but these patterns persist. What makes the collective unconscious especially relevant today is how much our modern lives tend to block it out. Think about it. How often does life slow down enough for us to reflect on the bigger picture? Our current focus on efficiency, achievement, and constant connection leaves little space to notice these deeper patterns. And when we lose touch with them, life starts to feel fragmented or ungrounded. Jung believed this disconnection could leave us feeling disoriented, as if we're missing an internal guide to navigate the chaos around us. Interestingly, science supports the idea that these archetypes and stories affect us on a deep level. Neurological research has shown that storytelling activates the brain's most ancient regions, the areas linked to emotion and memory.
This might explain why certain narratives feel timeless or why they move us in ways we can't always explain. Our brains are wired to respond to these patterns because they've been passed down through centuries of human evolution. But what's the practical takeaway here? Jung suggested that reconnecting with these archetypes through myths, dreams, or even art that reflects them can provide a sense of direction in uncertain times. They act as a compass, reminding us of something timeless within ourselves. And maybe that's what's often missing, the sense that amidst the rapid pace of the world, we still belong to something ancient, something shared. What if the phrase finding yourself isn't just a cliché, but one of the most important journeys you could take? Carl Jung believed it was. To him, this process was called individuation, the lifelong work of integrating your conscious mind with your unconscious mind to become a whole person. It's not about becoming perfect or even achieving a fixed final self. It's about recognizing and accepting all the parts of you, even the ones that may seem contradictory. Jung saw this integration as the key to a life of balance and meaning, a way to create harmony within yourself, instead of being pulled in different directions by unconscious forces. Now, it's tempting to think that modern solutions already address this: self-improvement programs, productivity systems, or even the endless focus on keeping busy. But here's the catch. These solutions often focus on external results, while individuation asks you to look inward. Rather than avoiding discomfort or papering over problems, individuation requires you to meet challenges head-on and ask, what is this really teaching me about myself? Jung believed that modern life's obsession with outward success often leads us further from that question, leaving us fragmented. It's why even achieving our goals can sometimes feel strangely hollow. Interestingly, individuation often begins not because we plan it, but because life forces it upon us. Crises like career burnout, a painful breakup, or even a loss of direction can be catalysts for this process. Think about the way these events disrupt your sense of identity. They make you take a step back, question who you are, and often demand that you grow in ways you couldn't have imagined. It aligns with modern research on post-traumatic growth, which shows that people who face significant challenges often emerge with a deeper understanding of themselves and a renewed sense of purpose. Jung saw these difficult moments not as failures, but as opportunities for transformation. Part of individuation involves working with archetypes from the collective unconscious. The patterns we all share, like the persona, shadow, and self. For example, the persona, or the mask you show to the world, can't define your whole identity. If you become too attached to it, you lose touch with your inner feelings. Similarly, the shadow invites you to explore the parts of yourself you'd rather ignore. The process of bringing these elements into harmony helps to reveal the self, which Jung described as the central force of wholeness in each person. Slowing down is essential here, not as a luxury, but as a necessity. Reflection, whether through journaling, art, or simply spending time alone, creates the space for integration to happen. What Jung realized is that individuation doesn't erase existential dread, it transforms it. By exploring your depth, you turn that uneasiness into understanding, and slowly, the pieces of your life start forming a fuller picture. Applying Jung's ideas in today's fast-paced world might seem overwhelming at first, especially when time feels like a resource we never have enough of. But what makes these concepts so powerful is how they can fit into everyday life in simple, practical ways. Jung believed that inner growth didn't require elaborate systems or rigid rules. Instead, it came through consistent, meaningful practices that help you reconnect with yourself. Let's start with one of the most accessible tools, dream journaling. Dreams, Jung said, are like a direct line to the unconscious. Journaling your dreams isn't just about recording strange or surreal experiences. It's about uncovering patterns, symbols, and emotions that hold personal meaning. A recurring dream might point to unresolved conflicts or aspects of your shadow you've been avoiding. By reflecting on these images, you can gain insights into parts of yourself that might otherwise remain hidden. The key is to approach them without judgment. Just write down what you remember and notice the feelings or themes that stand out. Over time, these pieces can come together to reveal a deeper understanding of your inner world. Another important practice is learning to notice projections. This means paying attention to moments when you find yourself blaming or criticizing others. For instance, if a co-worker's behavior irritates you, it might be worth asking, am I seeing a trait in them I don't want to admit in myself? Recognizing these projections allows you to reclaim those disowned parts of your personality, whether it's a need for control, vulnerability, or assertiveness. The more honest you can be with yourself, the less those hidden aspects show up in unhealthy ways. Engaging with mythic art and literature is another way to apply Jung's ideas. Stories from different cultures often reflect archetypes from the collective unconscious, like the hero, the mentor, or the trickster. These universal symbols can help you see your own life in a new light, or provide a sense of connection to something larger than yourself. Jung believed that connecting with these timeless stories made life's challenges feel less isolating, offering a framework to navigate personal struggles. Creative expression also plays a role in integrating the unconscious. Art therapy, for example, uses drawing, painting, or other forms of creativity to explore emotions that may be hard to put into words. The act of creating allows you to access unconscious material in symbolic ways, helping to process experiences while fostering psychological growth. Even small acts of creativity, like sketching or writing poetry, can create moments of reflection in a busy day. These steps don't require hours of meditation or a complete lifestyle change. Instead, they fit into the moments you already have, paying attention to a dream as you wake up, noticing a projection during a tense conversation, or reflecting on a story that resonates with you. Jung's ideas remind us that growth doesn't come from chasing something new, but from reconnecting with what's already within us. It's through these small yet deliberate practices that modern life can feel a little less hollow and a lot more meaningful. Jung's message couldn't be clearer. Without doing inner work, no amount of outward progress will ever satisfy. Modern life can easily pull us into an endless loop of seeking validation, productivity, or distraction, but none of these address the deeper questions within. Instead, the next time you find yourself scrolling aimlessly, try asking, what part of me is longing for something more? Jung believed true growth requires honesty, a willingness to look inward, explore the unconscious, and integrate what you find. It's not about another app or productivity hack. It's about the quiet courage to begin knowing yourself, one step at a time.